Right now, President Trump is meeting with Senate Republicans on the Hill just hours after he abruptly canceled the signing of a major piece of bipartisan housing legislation. Trump warning he will not sign it unless Republicans pass his restrictive voting bill, the SAVE Act. Democratic Senator Jack Reed of Rhode Island joins me now. He sits on the Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committees and is the ranking member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Senator, thank you so much for being with us. Your reaction to what the president did this morning?
Astounding. The president was supporting this bill vigorously. That's one of the reasons it passed the House, and also it was such a bipartisan measure. It was obviously it should be signed. To suddenly announce that he's not signing it is it reflects, I think, a just temper tantrum by the president, which is often the case, and it signifies also that he does not, I think, have a conscious and thorough knowledge of policy and the Republican Party in the Congress.
Senator, one of the reasons I wanted to make sure we spoke with you today is that some of your Republican colleagues actually crossed the aisle to check Trump's war powers. This has been an ongoing, evolving conversation and effort. Your sense of what has finally moved Republicans in this direction?
Well, I think what they've seen is that all of the assumptions that the president made about this war were entirely incorrect. The regime did not fall. In fact, what happened is that the new regime is more ardent and more fanatical, and they've seized upon an asset, the Strait of Hormuz, which imperils the entire world economy. And also, they've just seen the lack of not only cooperation, but of constitutional responsibility by the president. This was a war which he sought no authority from the Congress, which is required under the Constitution. And then I think the other factors weighing in is the fact that this directly contributes to inflation in the United States in practically everything. And he seems to be, at this point, without any thoughtful or practical ideas how to successfully end this, other than trying to pay off the Iranians.
Senator, the Pentagon is asking Congress for $80 billion to fund Donald Trump's war with Iran. So that number, $80 billion, it's far higher than the number we heard from Hegseth, $29 billion. That was the estimate for the cost of the war. Your sense of what the actual number is, how much money does the administration really need? Well,
$80 billion is a low estimate. In my view, it's anywhere from $100 to $150 billion. I don't think they're counting any of the destroyed infrastructure of our bases in the area. I think they're just trying to get in as much money as they think will be politically possible. But this is in the context, too, of the president asking for over a $1 trillion defense budget, and in addition, a $350 billion reconciliation bill for defense. So this is a point at which the defense spending is absolutely out of control, and also slighting our domestic programs, which are critical to the country. So, and I think this is simply the $80 billion a down payment, not a full payment.
So, Senator, I want to stay on this point, and this is a little processy, but I actually think it matters because you have said that funding, the number we were just talking about for the Iran supplemental, it can't be done in isolation. It has to be done after lawmakers agree to a total spending amount for both defense and non-defense programs. Help me understand what kind of timeline that puts us on.
Well, what is happening is there was an attempt this week, tomorrow, to have another appropriations markup, and I serve on the Appropriations Committee, but because of the absence of Senator McConnell, they've called it off. They don't have the votes to pass the bills they want to pass. But we're still in the situation, and you, Alicia, pointed it out, we need, as we've always had in the past, a top line, how much we're going to spend on defense, how much we're spending on domestic programs. And there we can go forth and create and categorize, prioritize defense spending and domestic spending. Until we get that top line, we're just sort of wandering around talking past each other.
Senator, in the last hour, we talked about the latest senior military departure. Of course, four-star General Chris Donahue, a decorated officer. He was the last soldier to leave Afghanistan. Can you just make it clear for folks who are watching what the cost, what the danger is to the homeland of someone like C.D. Donahue departing the Pentagon?
Well, first, General Donahue is the exemplar of a military officer. He took his days at West Point, duty, honor, and country, and turned it into a career of sacrifice and courage and service. And anyone who served with him is very proud that he served with him. And I think what this sends as a signal is that merit, quality, courage, soldierly characteristics are not as important as political associations with the president. The danger we have right now is that the president and Hegseth are trying to politicize the military. And one of the great strengths of our military over centuries is that it was not a political institution. It was an institution dedicated to the Constitution. And that is concerning many, many people, particularly the men and women in uniform.
Senator Jack Reed of the great state of Rhode Island. Senator, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Alicia.